Hi everyone. A lot of people install OpenClaw for the first time on their computer, and after the initial wow moment, nearly all of them end up thinking, man, that thing is so dumb, it forgets everything, I have to start over again, it's stuck. Congrats. After watching this video, if you want to, you can have hundreds or even thousands of super smart lobsters working for you, but not dumb ones anymore, life-changing ones. So first of all, if you still don't know how to set it up, the basic installation, I did a video about that, go watch it first. Alright, you're still there? So why most people end up thinking OpenClaw is stupid? Because they are still treating it like ChatGPT or Gemini, the chatbot. But we are in crypto, we are on the computer, chatting is worthless. Execution is everything. You need to evolve it into a system that has real memory and actual execution logic, and most of all, something nearly someone that's autonomous. So I've been tweaking my OpenClaws a lot lately. First, I spent a lot of time figuring out how to build it fast, but now I'm focused on making it truly powerful and useful. So today I will share all my hard-earned experience with you. And the best part, this underlying architecture is universal. I'm using in this video my Bitcoin TCA advanced strategy as the example, but once you master this way of thinking, you can build a 24/7 arbitrage scanner, a whale-watching listener agent, do some pre-market arbitrage, or even a research report analyzing, research shrimp or something. I don't care, the core logic is exactly the same. I've also prepared 2 files for you, a universal SOP guide and the exact ready-to-use prompt I created for building a BTC TCA assistant using my advanced strategy. If you want, it's free. Just add my Telegram through the link in the description below and I'll tell you that. Alright, then enough talking. Let's dive right in. I will show you what to do on my computer. Alright, look at the screen. I just created a fresh new OpenClaw with some basic skills installed. Nothing else. We are going to build everything from zero together. So when you chat with OpenClaw, you've probably noticed it forgets everything. You spend all afternoon teaching it how to analyze charts, what mistakes you made, and what to learn next. And you come back tomorrow, and it remembers nothing. And worse than that, it will not tell you that it doesn't remember. It will tell you that it never happened. It's so frustrating. So you have to start teaching all over again. It's a total waste of time and energy. It's really, really frustrating. So why does this happen? Because normal conversations are volatile. The chat window, it's like a whiteboard. Once it's full, all stuff gets erased. Disconnect or close the window and everything disappears. So the very first thing we need to do is to give the AI a real physical memory architecture before it forgets. And for that, I break it down into 3 clear steps. The first step is physical partitioning. Just like I'm doing right now, I command it to create a memory folder in the root directory. To make retrieval super accurate, I also create 8 specialized files right away. For example, some that existed already in the OpenClaw architecture, like agents.md for identity, sol.md for core logic, errors.md. This one is not from OpenClaw architecture, it's from me, for mistakes it has made, and so on. With these 8 files, the AI finally knows exactly where to store each type of information. Then the second step is hierarchical flow. I designed 3 memory tiers. The tier 1 is raw conversation, then tier 2 is temporary task logs, tier 3 is solidified logic and rules. The most important part here is the heartbeat auto-refinement. Every 6 hours, it must reflect on its own. What was nice? What were the real lessons from the boss, from me? And then turn those lessons into permanent logic. We will talk about that later in this video, but this is how it keeps improving itself. Then the third step, safe appending. This is a crucial technical detail most people miss. When OpenClaw writes to memory, it must always use edit to append, never write to overwrite. Overwriting, it's like tearing everything down and starting over, and sometimes it causes the AI to damage its own file system, its own logic and stuff. Appending is proper version control. We want its memory to grow like 3 rings, layer by layer. Really important, this one. So now that the brain is built, we need to fix the communication problem. Here are the rules I created that work really, really well, extremely well with the AI. Especially the third one, I will not detail everything here, but the IPO protocol, input, process, output, it's really important. You've probably felt frustrated when the AI misunderstands your requests. So we implement a plain English parsing protocol. Whenever it receives vague or casual language from me, the AI agent must immediately switch into architect mode. It cannot execute anything yet. It cannot guess. Instead, it has to output a 3-part confirmation. input source, processing logic, expected output format. It's really important to work like that. Only after I reply that it's correct does it get permission to perform MCP operations. This is called reverse confirmation. It forces the AI to turn your casual words into precise instructions. We'll test that later in the next stage, actually, when it's set up, to see if it actually follows what we told it to do. So let's go to the next stage. It's time to teach it how to actually do the work. This is where you give it an operation manual. That's the skills. Do you want it to be your DCA assistant, your trading bot, polymarket bot, or your assistant for anything else? I don't care. Every task has different logic. That's what's important here. So you need to provide a clear manual, like if it was a human being. You have to tell him what's your job, what's your missions, and how to do it. For example, right now, I wanted to become my DCA assistant. That's the example we took for this video. So I'll tell it exactly how much money I plan to invest each week, how to adjust when the market crashes, and how to adjust when it pumps. That way, it knows precisely what to do in the future. But here's an important warning. After you set all the rules, and you can see that I put that in each part, you must do tests. So for this one, it will be a logic, blind test. If there is any error, you need to catch it immediately and make it correct the skill.md file. Only logic that has been properly tested should go live. We are playing with money here. We cannot go blindly and don't do the test and don't do our due diligence. If in your own test it doesn't make a mistake, I just want to remind everyone that there is always a chance of error. So remember to test thoroughly. So after this last stage, and you can see that it starts working, but it's still pretty dumb. It only moves when you talk to it. You are the boss. It shouldn't be waiting for you to remind it every time to do the work. It should work on its own, right? We are talking about, an assistant. It's like nearly AGI, they say. So it cannot stay passive. The reason it stays passive here is because it lacks an autonomous nervous system. So our next job is to install hooks and reflection arcs. So basically mount the heartbeat. Bring it to life. So look at what I'm doing here. I set it to run automatically every 30 minutes. For you, maybe it's 5 minutes or a cron job every minute. It depends what you are doing with your bot, of course. But that means that even when you are sleeping, OpenClaw, your bot AI agent, will keep watching Bitcoin prices and scanning the entire market. This is a real automation here. And here I will do some customization. You can also customize your bots, of course, but I know that if I ask it to do that, and you will find out doing your tests, your questions, and your control, you will find out that it will check the prices of Bitcoin online doing a web search. So we will tell it to use the CoinGecko API. And then we will check that, of course. And you can configure everything. For example, to avoid useless price alerts, you can make it stay quiet most of the time and only notify you when a real rule is triggered. With this kind of heartbeat system, it transforms from an intern that waits for orders into a 24-hour digital sentinel that never sleeps, and that's what we want. So now, by the end of stage 4, your OpenClaw is already pretty evolved. But in real use cases, I still sometimes see it repeating the same mistakes. And if you remember, I talked about it in stage 1, I told you about the refinement task. Those archive files will stay empty if you don't insist, for the OpenClaw agent to use them. So I remind it again, activate this 6-hour heartbeat refinement. Here, I really want to force the AI to review all lessons from the conversations and update them into strategy evolve, into the file that's called strategyevolve.md. This way, every single second it's becoming smarter and understands me better than the second before, understands you better than the second before. And that's what we want it to do. Now we are talking. All right, that's all for today's content. To make everything crystal clear, I turned those 5 stages into a clean architecture evolution table that you can see now on screen. Take a look, pause, screenshot it, or ask for it on Telegram. But what's important is that you can see here that once you break it down, deploying OpenClaw isn't actually that hard. This entire methodology comes from countless frustrating conversations, almost rage-inducing sometimes, so I hope that helps. Of course, I couldn't cover every single detail today, but you can fine-tune the smaller points with your own OpenClaw as long as you follow this systematic architecture. This logic, you won't go in the wrong direction. Of course, this method isn't set in stone. It's just my current 1.0 version. I will keep improving and iterating on it, But once you get this SOP, make sure to test it heavily in your own scenarios and tell me about it. I can't wait to see your results and different insights in the comments or in my Telegram group. Once again, if you want everything that I talked about today, add my Telegram through the link in the description below. And before we finish, I gotta share 2 quick reminders. First, this video is purely for educational and experience sharing purposes. Of course, it's not financial advice, NFA. And second, OpenClaw still has some security risks at the moment. When you are setting it up, please be extremely careful. For those who use it to set arbitrage bots or polymarket bots, protect your wallets, protect your API keys, protect your accounts, never grant all permissions to untrusted bots or plugins. Build with caution. I'm Cédric. I'll see you in the next video.